Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the live stream. Oh, hey, Colette McCullough. It's good to see you. Could y'all let me know if you can hear me okay? It's saying everything's working, but you never know. I like to check because y'all know I've had whole 10, 15 minutes of just talking and y'all being like, don't know what you're saying, girl. So thank y'all for joining me. I have been having so much fun recapping with Love Meghan. And I actually rewatched the season this morning. Oh, thank you, Carol Lund. Hello, welcome to the live. I was about to say live chat. It's been a while. Live stream. I appreciate you joining, especially this early in the day. But I've been trying to stay on a schedule because I went back to school and it's been busy. But I have a couple of things that I wanted to talk about today because I have been enjoying With Love Meghan so much. And there's been so much going on that I've been trying to like not interrupt the recaps, but Prince Harry decided to go and do everything everywhere all at once. And so I was like, okay, we're gonna just kind of ping pong back and forth because you know they're gonna get to work. So I'm not going to interrupt his hustle. So I was like, let me do the recap one day and then we'll come back and get some updates on Prince Harry. We'll alternate. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Colette McCullough says everything is good. You rocking that hair. Thank you. Yeah, it's actually gonna be lighter soon in a couple of months. But it was a nice start, and I'm kind of glad we went in tepidly because I keep forgetting that my hair is a different color. So from time to time, I'll pass the mirror and be like, "What the hell?" And then I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right." So it's been nice to have a little change, though. I've been having a good time. So we're going to get started with the segments. So today's recap or today's, I guess you could call it a recap. Today's chat, we're going to talk about my favorite fashion moments. And that was the hardest little list to put together. Y'all, I was stressed. That's why I pushed it back because I changed the segment like 10 minutes before we went live because I was like, you know what? I changed my mind. Like, girl, so but it was such good fashion. Like, first of all, I've come to expect that of Meghan. Like, all of her looks are well put together. She has like a look, but it's not predictable. And that's what I like about her is like she's going to give you like a nice evening look sometimes, and she's going to go super formal sometimes. And then there are going to be times where she goes for prep and posh. And then there's sometimes she's going to go like real garden chic, like outdoor. And then sometimes she goes outright princess vibes. And that's probably my favorite. And I have a look on my list that channels that energy. And so we're going to talk about that as well. But her fashion is always going to be something I enjoy. And so I watched the show, season 2, twice, once to recap it, and then the second time to make sure I didn't miss anything. And I kept just getting swept up in the fashion and looking everything up on whatmeganwore.net. And so she pulled out some really cute looks. I'm not surprised. Season 1, she did the same thing. So we're going to get into the first segment about Meghan's fashion. Y'all keep the live chat going, share your opinions throughout the segment, and then we'll continue the conversation on the other side. My top 3 favorite outfits from With Love Meghan Season 2. As you can imagine, this was the hardest list for me to put together. Y'all know I love covering Meghan's fashion and her style. It's one of the things that I connected with her immediately on when I started observing her in the public space. And not only that, it's my third favorite topic to cover about her, second only to her work and her family time with her husband and children. And so I was so meticulous about this list, and it changed 4 separate times, meaning I revised this segment 4 times. I wanted to get it right, but I kept changing my mind, which is why I put it off. As a matter of fact, the last edit, meaning this edit that you are hearing, is occurring 5 minutes before I'm about to hit record on the live stream. So, which tells me, one, the fashion was amazing in this season, as it always is, but also it's subject to change several more times. My opinion is going to change. It happens. And that's the thing about fashion or any kind of creative expression is it's subjective. So not only will it differ from person to person, it will differ from person to person, from mood to mood, from day to day. So my opinion will continue to change and evolve. But today, as of right now, these are my top 3. But holler at me in 6 weeks. This may change. So we're going to start with the dress that I spotted in the trailer. I called this. When I first saw the trailer, I knew this would be one of my favorite outfits, but I didn't want to overcommit because I knew I hadn't seen every outfit from every episode. So I couldn't definitively say this would be my favorite, but I knew it would be up there because the moment I saw it, I immediately fell in love. I am a sucker for stripes and I love a good button down. This is my favorite combo. So when I saw Meghan in this Carolina Herrera stripe drop shoulder shirt dress, I knew it would be my top 5 at least. This might be my number 1. Now, I'm actually presenting these outfits in no particular order. These are my top 3 as of today, as of right now, but they're in no particular order with the exception of this dress. This one is definitely my favorite. Now, she wore this with the Saint Laurent tribute sandals in amber. She wore diamond studs. She did so many activities in this. And one of the things that I love most about this dress is not only how beautifully it's fitted, but also how well it's styled. I mentioned this when I talked about this dress in the trailer. I love that she chose to go with minimal jewelry and she didn't do a necklace, even though there was like a deep V with the button neck. It's kind of like a lot of skin showing up there. It's nothing inappropriate and there's no peekaboo moments. Although she's grown, if she wanted to have some, she could, but she didn't. Y'all know Meghan keeps it classy. But anyway, I love this dress. I loved the cinched waist. I love that it's not too cinched. And I love that I feel like the word I'm looking for, the term I'm looking for is just so. Like it's not too rigid, but it's polished. It's put together, but it doesn't look like it was like painted onto her. She can move, she's comfortable, it's fitted to her, but it's still livable. As we saw, one of the things that makes it so unique and a little bit different than not only her other shirt dresses, but from shirt dresses in general, is the ultra wide sleeves. We rarely see that. Usually with shirt dresses, it's either sleeveless or like a really normal short sleeve or a long sleeve, like a real button down shirt. And I love that they went for the very wide short sleeves that are rolled. Perfect. Now, the thing that seals this dress as my favorite, the accented buttons. Gold buttons is going to get me every time. Every time I buy a blazer, I replace the buttons. If they are not already gold, I go buy gold buttons and I sew them on. It's the only thing I know how to sew, as a matter of fact. I am not a good person to sew, or I'm not good at sewing. But I feel like if it's got a button, the button needs to be gold. That's just a me thing. So the moment I saw this in the light and I saw how the sun kept catching the gold, or even the lighting in the kitchen kept catching the gold and making it sparkle a little bit, that's exactly why you do it. It just gives it that extra oomph and that extra pop. Overall, this look was one of my favorites. This dress is my favorite outfit that she wore, which was hard to determine. I gotta be honest, I had maybe 5 favorites and I finally said, girl, this was your favorite from the beginning, so you have to pick this at number 1. Like you already called it. It came to pass. Just stick with it. But my other 2 options, you're going to see why I had a really tough time picking. Now, this dress is something that if I could afford it, I would absolutely wear this. Not only does it look cute in like your day-to-day, but this is something you could even wear to dinner. This is something you could wear to a brunch. This is something you could wear to like a picnic. It's so versatile, but it's also gorgeous. Not only that, it's Carolina Herrera. And something that I have noticed about Meghan and Carolina Herrera, they're a match made in heaven. Every time she pulls a Carolina Herrera piece, it fits her perfectly. I just feel like they get her. They just do. And I feel like they're just a really good match. I feel like some people, they find a brand and it just speaks to them. Kind of like I just saw Lupita Nyong'o is now going to be a brand ambassador for Chanel. Yes, and yes again. It just makes sense. Or Zendaya with Louis Vuitton. Yes, like sometimes people just pick a brand or a brand picks them and it just works. Now, Meghan has several brands that you will find recurring in her wardrobe, and she's connected with several brands, and she actually makes sport out of finding new brands, especially eco-friendly brands who are female owned and female founded. And so we do see her pull in a lot of variety when it comes to the brands and the designers that she works with. But there are those staples that just get her. Aquazzura, Carolina Herrera, need I say more? So like clearly Meghan has her go-tos, and Carolina Herrera is definitely one of them, and it works every single time. So obviously this dress is my number one. And then here are the other two that were strong contenders. Wouldn't you know it? Talk about competing with yourself for first. Again, Carolina Herrera, and this is the Lily of the Valley print sundress. Now, this is no longer available, and it's from a past season, but it is absolutely gorgeous. It's got that vintage feel, but it's very modern. Meghan brought it into the modern day. There is no additional frill. She tied the bow in the back. It's got a nice square neck, very thin straps, but it covers everything that needs to be covered. It looks like it's very livable and comfortable. I loved the A-line skirt, and I loved how frilly it actually was when it came to the skirt. Now, there was no lace or there was no tulle or anything like that, but I love when Meghan gives us those really traditional or just vintage princess moments, and I feel like this dress captured that essence. I mean, it's fitting, but I loved how she styled this dress. Again, she let the square neck just be the focal point of the top of the dress. She did not do a necklace. She wore her hair down. And one of the things that, like I've said this before, whenever Meghan is showing more skin than normal up top, like maybe a strapless gown or something strapless or thin straps or anything like that, or maybe a deep V or plunging neckline or anything like that, she will often wear her hair down. And I feel like that captures a balance so that it's just not skin on skin on skin. It's giving you a little bit, but it's definitely balancing it out so that it's not just skin. You get to see the whole look, and the whole look makes sense. Now, she wore this. Now, I don't have any information from the shoes, but the ring that she wore with this was the Lorraine Schwartz emerald cut pinky ring. And we actually saw that several times throughout the season. But this dress is so beautiful. I love green. We know that Meghan taps green as one of her signature colors, and it definitely works. But overall, the activities that they did in this episode, where they were in the garden and they were talking about plants, and this is the episode where she spoke with Samin Nosrat, and they talked about how in nature there are several things that could cause harm or severe discomfort, but then right next to it, oftentimes you'll find the cure or the remedy. And I really got a lot out of that conversation. I learned a lot, but they were outdoors a lot and they were in the garden a lot. And is this not the perfect gown or dress to wear out in the garden? She definitely just gave us that vintage princess moment. It did feel like a fairy tale. And then to couple that with the guest that she had, Samin Nosrat, her energy with Meghan's and this very sweet and innocent moments, it was just such a sweet and heartwarming episode. It's actually one of my favorites. I just loved Samin's energy so much. I talked about it in my recap. I won't rehash, but goodness, her energy is just jumping through the screen. And she's one of the very few guests who have literally matched Meghan's positive, bubbly energy. Now, all of her guests have been super sweet and positive, but there's something about that bubbly energy that you just don't capture with everyone, that almost childlike innocence, I would say, not to be condescending or infantilizing, but just like that childlike innocence, just everything is lighter with you. I felt like Samin matched Meghan's energy there, and I just felt like this whole episode was like a palate cleanser, as I described it. And this dress is perfect for that. This is adorable. Now, for the last outfit that caught my eye and has not let me go since. It's this little number that we only get very brief moments of her in episode 7 at the very end. It's this beautiful skirt and top set. Now, I don't know if these two come together, but they're from the same brand and they're in the same hue. I absolutely loved this look. I love the tortoiseshell buttons. I loved her makeup that she chose to wear. She wore a little bit darker bronzer on her cheeks and a little bit darker eyeshadow on her eyes. We see her with a nude lip, a peekaboo, barely there necklace. This is the Maya Brenner custom letter necklace. And it's very, very thin and very small, but it catches the light. And I love that she left the two top buttons of her top undone so that you could see the necklace. I thought that was sweet. And she has a heart and an A and an L for Archie and Lily, and as well as Harry's birthstones set in gold on the chain. And so clearly this is a very personal necklace, and I'm glad that she was able to show it, even though she has a pretty high collar with buttons. She did the one button at the bottom and left the other two open so you could see it. Now for this top, this is the G Label by Goop Jensen Polo Shell in Oat. And then for the skirt, it's the G Label by Goop Faith Sweater Skirt, also in Oat. Everything about this look works. I love how posh it looks. It seems almost casual, but it's like a cut above casual. It's so cute and so simple, but it's fit to a T, of course. And this color on Meghan's skin, the first thing I noticed. It also helps that the buttons are tortoiseshell. I know I literally just did a whole soliloquy on gold buttons, but this is when gold buttons would have worked too, but the tortoiseshell was absolutely the right call. This look is so prep. I freaking love it. I could even see her with a sweater draped around her shoulders. Like, everything about this look is my favorite. And I really wish we had gotten more moments of her in this, or more scenes of her in this look. It is so, so cute. This is definitely my top 3. So right now, those are my top 3 as of today, as of this moment. But you know, it's subject to change, and it's almost definitely going to change. But you guys let me know, what are your top 3? And I know you love all of the outfits and they're all perfect and wonderful, but if you could see yourself in any of them, or if any of them just like caught your eye, let me know in the comment section below. But these are currently my top 3, and we may need to do a part 2 because you know it's going to change. Okay, so that took me a long time. The initial video didn't take that long, but then I kept going back on my word and changing my mind. I kept, like, because I was continuing to watch the show as I was making the segments, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna change this out, and I just kept doing that. But I'll be honest, this is a fun game. Meghan has like a lot of really cute looks, so if you're ever trying to find like your favorite or your top 5, it's gonna rotate, and it's just gonna be fun. If anything, she's just helping me exercise my brain. But I actually saw a comment. Let me go back to that comment because I wanted to talk about it. Oh, hey, Colette McCullough. Colette McCullough says, Meghan looks fabulous. I wish I had the coins to afford her wardrobe. And I actually was just saying this, like, if I ever like hit it big or got rich or whatever, I would absolutely just be thumbing through what Meghan wore and be like, okay, let me go here, let me go here. And also she shares on her Instagram, Shop My, what her clothes are. So I would definitely be checking out those brands. Some of the brands that I like that do kind of channel that same essence, but are a bit more affordable, it's like Kate Spade, rest in peace, Kate Spade, but like the brand itself, they do a really good job of doing like the posh, but they also kind of have like a fun element to it, kind of a playful element. That brand does great work with patterns and colors, but they do kind of have like a polished look. My watch is Kate Spade today. That's funny. That's probably why it's top of mind. Also, Marc Jacobs. I love Marc Jacobs. I always have. And one of the things that I love most about Marc Jacobs is that his jewelry is affordable, always has been, and his watches. And they're really good quality, really nice quality, good clothes, all of that, but it's affordable. J. Crew. Who are some more that kind of channel those same looks, but for affordable? If y'all have any, let me know. We can continue the conversation, because I usually go to Ralph Lauren, but I did a modeling campaign with them a long time ago. And when I did that, my induction, I was told immediately, it's Ralph Lauren. Don't say Ralph Lauren. And then later, come to find out, it's not. Ralph Lauren is an American brand. It's just Ralph Lauren. But by then, it's stuck. So I still struggle. I will be like Ralph Lauren, and anyway, like the representative said Ralph Lauren, and like everybody used that, pronunciation, but child, no, it's not. But anyway, They have really good clothes. J. Crew. Who else? Brooks Brothers. They're kind of making a little comeback. Brooks Brothers had a moment in like the 90s, and then I'm not going to say they fell off, but it's just like they got more competition and they just weren't talked about as much. But their kind of posh clothing is super cute and affordable. So anyway, those are some brands that I like when I'm looking to put like a cute little look together that maybe like elevated casual. Like that last look that Meghan had, that was a very casual but cute and elevated look. If she were to get called away to like sit in on a meeting or to have a Zoom call or to show up somewhere, she would have been perfectly fine. Meanwhile, if she had chosen to stay home and relax and chill, she would have also been perfectly comfortable. And that's kind of my favorite style, especially since I've worked from home for the past 12 years. No, 10. I've worked from home for the past 10 years, well before COVID. And then when I stopped working and I went back to school, I'm still doing virtual learning or distance learning. So I don't have to go anywhere. So I like for my clothes to be cute enough to where if I want to go to lunch with a friend or go to dinner after my day, I don't have to stop and like get ready. So I want to sit around the house and still be cute. Nobody wants to be around the house in pajamas. So I love elevated casual looks. That's kind of my preference. But anyway, if y'all know of more brands that kind of give you that look, like the G label that she was wearing. If you know of any other brands that kind of channel that same vibe, but are affordable, because I've decided to no longer share the prices of Meghan's clothes because it was just a habit. I got in a habit of talking about her clothes and I would just say, this is how much this costs, etc. And then it dawned on me one day, I don't remember what I was doing, but I was like, that lady is buying her own clothes. That means that's nobody's business. And it's just like, it dawned on me how invasive that was, even though I'm sure she doesn't care. She's a public figure. How would you feel if you were like buying a shirt and somebody was like, that's $10.99. Do you have it in your bank? Like you would be like, get out my damn business. So I decided to try not to do that and break that habit. But I did look up the prices because I love that little skirt set. And I was like, maybe for Christmas, like this would be a Christmas gift for me. This would not be a casual around the house. This would be if I get invited somewhere fancy, let me wear this. But yeah, she got it. She works for it. She got it. She has a right to pay, to use it however she wants to. But anyway, I loved the fashion in this episode. Also, some of the honorable mentions that didn't make the video because I didn't want it to be so long. Because as you saw, that was a 15-minute video. And I only showed 3 looks. So that's why, because I will get long-winded. But one of the things that I loved was her look when she met with Tan France, that very, very prep look with the firm collar. And she also had another firm collar moment, like a button down with a really big collar when she met with Carol, or is it Carol Smith? What's her name? Claire Smith. When she was cooking with her, she had that really nice button down with the big collar, and I was just obsessed with that. So there were a few moments where I was like, Meghan, you are making this hard for me. I cannot pick. But anyway, she pulled out some really great looks. I love her style. Hi, Colette McCullough. Colette McCullough says, Sharion, did you do the unboxing of Meghan's products yet? I'm riding wine today. Oh, what? No. I'm actually doing it next week, early next week, because I wanted my husband to be part of it. I had actually recorded half of it. And then I said, well, he loved that jam, y'all. Like he lost it over that jam. I didn't tell him what it was. I just put it on the table when we were having breakfast, and I just put it in a little bowl with a serving spoon. And he was like, what's this? And I was like, oh, it's just some preserves I picked up. Just try it. He tried it on a croissant. He talked about it for the first half of the day. He was like, that was good. And I don't even eat apricot like that. He was just like going on about it. And I was just like, oh, really? And I was like, would you believe that's a celebrity brand? And he was like, for real? Who? And I was like, that's Meghan's. That's from Meghan's brand As Ever. He was surprised because he's kind of like me too. Because I know Meghan, I know that her quality products are going to be high, but he's not like that invested in anything, or he doesn't really stay tapped in. So he's kind of like I am with every other celebrity. Like it's a celebrity brand. They probably just slap their name on it and just go. They probably don't put a whole lot of time into it. But after I told him who it was, I was like telling him all about how she curated it and how much like she put into it. And so that also helped because I'm pretty sure when he saw those charges, he was like, what is As Ever? And why is it taking all my money? No, actually, As Ever is very well priced. But no, he really enjoyed it. And so now We have the 3 bottles of wine, and I wanted him to be part of it so that he didn't get excluded. Because I was like, I should have recorded that reaction to the apricot jam. I didn't even think to do it. I didn't know what he was going to say. I figured he would be like, this is good. Did you make this or something? But no, he had like a big reaction. He really loved it. I will say this too. He loves fruity things. Like he loves like fruit juices and fruit drinks and preserves. And like, I'm not like that. I'm a tart person and I like what I like. And I don't really try a whole lot of other stuff. And so having to do like the taste testing and trying out the products, it has kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone, which is good. I just turned 38. I don't need to be eating the same things all the time. And here's the craziest part. When I try new things, I often end up really loving them. Just stuck in my ways. So anyway, when I do the unboxing, I will definitely do that during the live stream, a segment during the live stream, because I've already started it. I've already done a couple of the taste tests, but I want him to be part of the wine, and he's definitely going to try the preserves again. I had to put them away so that we would have some left for the taste testing because he kept poking around. I was like, get out of that cabinet. But anyway, I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying the wine. I've heard it was good now. I have heard great things about it. So I'm excited. All right. So another part of With Love Meghan that I love is, no pun intended, is that it's actually very funny. We talk a lot about like the friendships that she's showing and like the behind the scenes things that she's sharing and like little aspects of her life that she's kind of opening up about, which that's kind of probably, I would have to say that's my favorite part of the show, is like when she's just chatting and kind of giving us a little peek inside her world, especially her pre-royal world. Her pre-royal world. I love when she talks about that because she was an actress, but prior to that, a lot of that information isn't really that well known. Like she shared a lot on the TIG, but she didn't have like a reality show or anything like that. So people don't know a whole lot about like all the jobs that she's worked and how she made ends meet. And one of the things that I found when I did a deep dive on her a few years ago was a bunch of essays that she had penned during her time on Suits that she penned for several outlets and like magazines. And even those gave a lot of insight. Like her first car was kind of a dud and she had to climb in through the back, through the hatchback. Little stuff like I love learning about stuff like that. But another aspect of With Love that I really enjoy is how funny it is, because she's also very witty, but a lot of the people she hangs out with, they're also funny. And so there were so many moments where I was laughing out loud. And if you zoom out and you just say, okay, how do you categorize With Love? I would say it's a lifestyle show or a cooking show. It's a lot of different things. It has a lot to it and a lot of elements, but I would essentially categorize it as more so a lifestyle show and a cooking show. I don't expect to laugh out loud to cooking shows or lifestyle shows. I don't. So that's always a nice, like, added extra oomph to it. And it does give it a lot more personality. So I decided to compile a list of some of the moments that really had me on the floor or some that caught me off guard. So here is that list. Keep lighting up the live chat and we'll continue the discussion on the other side. One of the most understated aspects of With Love Meghan is how funny it is. Every episode is loaded with cute little quips, little sayings, quotes, but a lot of humor. And so for season 2, I was leaned over laughing, especially at episode 8 with Chef Jose Andres. That man is funny. If I ever do something important enough to get a memoir written about me, I want him to narrate the audiobook and freelance and ad lib whatever he sees fit. I don't care what it is. And if I am ever blessed to get a movie or a biography or a biopic made of me, I want him to narrate that as well. That man is hilarious. But anyway, we can't do this all day. Although the season 8 or season 2, episode 8 recap is coming next week. And I spent a significant amount of time talking about his jokes. So we're going to have a good time. However, today I wanted to talk about my top 5 quips and little jokes that occurred throughout the season. Obviously, there are a lot, but these were the ones that either caught me off guard or just made me laugh out loud. And these are my top 5. While you watch, be sure to share your favorites with me in the comment section or the live chat below. Tan France is known to have a good witty one-liner or a nice quote or even a laugh-out-loud joke. If you watch Queer Eye, then you know all about it. So it's no surprise that as he watched Meghan sprinkle her famous flour sprinkles on their dish, he had something to say about it. He not only caught audiences off guard, but he made Meghan have a laugh-out-loud gut laugh, and I was right along with her.
So lovely.
Do you put powdered sugar or anything like that?
I typically put, not for my kids, but when we have it, we put powdered sugar on it. What was that you just added?
Flour sprinkles. I love them.
Wow, that's the gayest I've seen in a long time.
Throughout the show, Meghan shares a lot about her life, intimate moments like her wedding reception with Prince Harry. She shares about her time growing up, activities that she did, all the different jobs she did. And in this scene, she even shares a little bit about one of the recommendations made to her during one of her pregnancies. And it doesn't seem like it left her with a good impression.
It's gonna be so yummy.
These are like the most beautiful. I think they're Barhi dates.
My Ayurvedic doctor made me eat so many dates while I was pregnant.
Oh, they have a lot of iron.
So many dates.
Throughout the duration of the show, both season 1 and season 2, we've seen so many savvy tips shared. And in this scene, Chef Jose Andres shares a tip of a piece of equipment Meghan should have in her kitchen, and she has quite an interesting reaction.
Be perfectly
Secure.
steady.
For carving.
Ham is ready. Oh, yeah. Everybody should have one of those at home.
You think so?
We know Meghan loves music, all kinds of music. She's talked about loving the oldies. We know that she's a big fan of classical music, and she is in the Beehive. But in this scene, she quotes Ice Cube, and it brought a warm smile to my heart because I never thought I would hear Meghan say this.
Hang of it.
You really have to muscle into this.
You can do it. Put your back into it.
For this last scene, I had to share. I thought it was so funny. We know that Meghan is loved and adored all around the world, but we had no idea that she also came with some street cred, or should I say, sea cred.
I mean, even the people who are kind of on the fence about it, they're still impressed.
For sure. I'm going to get such great street cred.
I agree.
Sea cred.
That last one cracked me up. Street cred or sea cred. You know what I thought about? If you've seen any of those advertisements for Sacred and Beyonce goes, "Is it sacred? Is it sacred?" That's the first thing that crossed my mind. But those little quips were so funny, especially you can do it, put your back into it. I was like, that sounds familiar. Is that Ice Cube? And I'm going to be real. Y'all know, if you've been here for a minute, y'all know I had to read Ice Cube down a couple years ago. And he has not worked himself back into my good graces. So, but that gave him some points. Meghan helped him out a little bit because she quoted him. And I wouldn't have even expected her to know that. So that cracked me up. Anyway, there were so many funny moments. First of all, if you've gotten to episode 8, let me know. But if you've gotten to episode 8 with Chef Jose Andres, that whole episode from start to finish was hilarious. I mean, I was cracking up. That man is just so funny. Even when he's like not trying to be, he's just like talking as he's working. But he has like equal parts funny and sentimental. Like the way he talks to Meghan, and he doesn't say just like outright Meghan. He'll say, "Okay, little lady, okay, lady, okay, baby." Like he's just so doting. I'm like, what a sweet soul, but like what a friendly person. And then to think of like how he has dedicated his life to service, to helping people and going into those very dangerous war zones to make sure people have enough food. And also how dangerous it has been recently. Like he lost staff members, like was it last year or the year before? And so he does very dangerous work. And even hearing Meghan talk about like when he does leave and she knows that he's going to be in a scary area and she just says prayers for him. That's great for her to do. But man, that's got to be taxing. what a blessing. What a blessing it is for people to have somebody like that to be helping them, because they're already in a combat zone. So to have somebody worried about their nourishment, their safety, their health and well-being, that's got to be a really great thing for them to experience. But anyway, yeah, I can see now. I've never really seen him just like out and about or just like on camera, I guess. I've only seen him in like work mode, but seeing his personality and seeing how that was kind of jumping off the screen, he seems exactly like the type of person who would be doing the type of work that he does. He seems to think about the things and the people that might not be thought about. Even at the end of the episode, when they threw the party for the crew, even I was wondering, I was like, do they have like a first string crew and a second string crew so that they can kind of rotate in and out to enjoy the party, but also keep filming? But as they're filming, Jose Andres held the camera. He was like, no, you need to go eat. And he's literally pointing directly at the camera. I'm like, okay, you breaking all the fourth wall. But he was like, you need to go eat. And he took the camera. That was some of the best camera work I have ever seen. That was some good camera work. Chef Andres or Jose Andres, you might have found yourself a second calling because you were doing some good camera work, but everybody was cracking up. I love that they ended the episode of With Love, Meghan, but the last episode and the last thing we hear of the whole season is Meghan in the house and Chef Jose Andres' voice. I was like, that's so cute. That is adorable. Now, this is not what the whole show is about, but let me say, or the whole live stream is about, but let me say this. The spread they had in episode 8, all the food in this season was really good. It looked good. But that spread was so unique. You had paella and you had uni, and then what else did they have? They had oysters, they had grilled and raw. Like they had such interesting foods that I wouldn't have even thought to put together. Lobster, like they had really interesting foods. That is the type of party, like dinner party, I would remember forever. When Meghan said she would have some street cred, she was right, because I would tell everybody that, like, I would suddenly become this real snob if I went to her house and had uni. You wouldn't be able to talk to me about a damn thing. You could be like, Sharion, the light is green, you need to go. But, but girl, did you know I had some uni at Meghan's? Like, I would always be talking about it because that is such an impressive dish to serve. But also, I've never been to a party where they were, serving sea urchins. Now I'm interested. I got to be honest with you. When I saw them clean out that sea urchin and then stick a spoon in there, I was like, Meghan, don't eat it. Like I almost panicked because I'm like, it can't taste good fresh out the body. Like I would have thought you need to sprinkle some salt or, something, whipped cream. I don't know. I would have assumed you need to put something with it. No, apparently it's just good right there. So I'm going to have to try that. Like that's going to be on my bucket list. I'm going to have to try it. I wonder if there are any really nice chefs around Dallas who might serve. Y'all know Tiffany Dairy is back in Dallas and she has a restaurant and it is good. It's right up the street from my house and it's good. I go there all the time. It is good. And she serves turnip greens. Anyway, I wonder if she knows how to prepare sea urchin. I would try that. Anyway, we have a few top chefs who have restaurants here or live here. And I wonder if any of them serve sea urchin because I want to try it, but I want to try it from like a known or renowned chef, hopefully one with a Michelin star, because I wouldn't trust eating anything that raw. Like it was living seconds before they were scooping out of it. So, but everybody had a big reaction. They all said how good it was. So it's really interesting. Aw. Hey, Legs says, I was with you too, Sharon. Those sea urchins were still moving. See, listen, okay, so I'm someone whose lobster is my favorite food, like of all time. I like a lot of other foods, but lobster is always going to be the one for me. And I like it cold. I like it grilled. I like it all kinds of ways. But I can't prepare lobster still alive. Like it's technically supposed to be prepared. I can't put it in the pot living. I have to have dead lobster. I can't see it. If it moves in my presence, you're my pet now. Like I can't do it. I would freak out. And I've heard they scream when you put them. Same with crabs. I've seen people prepare crabs and they're still click, 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 and they're trying to move around. And I'm just like, that's a pet. Give it a name and put it in a jar. That's your baby now. Like I can't do it. But they were still moving. Now, the one thing I will say, because the sea urchin doesn't have like an identifiable face, that might help me to disassociate. but like when I can see your face, if I can look in your eyes, I'm gonna fall in love. I love animals, all kinds of animals. So I don't know about that, but anyway, yeah, it looked like it was worth it though. It looked good. Did y'all see the scene where Chef Jose Andres is preparing the lobster for the paella? And he is cracking the hell out of those shells. And he is just going about it in this real barbaric way. And one of the things that I love is that his words were so soft and comforting and sweet, but his hands were savage. He was just, mind you, he's just talking and just as friendly as he want to be. And Meghan is over there just like, I was like, get her a bucket. Get her a bucket. Oh my gosh. I was worried about my girl because I was like, now listen, I'm kind of like that with preparation of some things. Like I remember when I was really young, my mom taught me how to like clean shrimp. I didn't eat shrimp for like a year. I was just like, no, I know what was in there before the thumb got there. Like I couldn't do it. Now I'm fine. I can eat shrimp any kind of way. I can eat shrimp straight out the sea, but that was a lot for me. So I'm going to have to get used to the sea urchin. I'm kind of like Meghan on that, like the cracking of the lobster, especially since they were still living when he got a hold of them. I know that was a lot for her. She looked like she was struggling, but she powered through. My girl powered through. Hi, Veronica Quick. Veronica Quick says, yes, Sharion, you're like Meghan when the chef was chopping up that. I actually just went to your comment. Yeah. And it don't help that the sea urchins are so damn pretty. I'm like, it's purple. You can kill a purple thing. Like, it just seems valuable to me. I don't know. It's royal. It's fitting. All right, let's see. The next comment is, hi, Prudence Montague. It's good to see you. Prudence says, me too, Sharion. I love it too, but I am scared to hold them and I prefer eating that way as well. Yeah. Oh, no, I can't do it. Once I got a pound of crawfish to cook, and they were supposed to be frozen. So they should have been dead for quite some time. And one of them was fighting for his life. Do you hear me? And this is when we were in Florida and we lived on a nice body of water and he was fighting. He was the only one. And I was like, you know what? Hell yeah. And I took him outside and I put him in the water. Actually, I put him in the mud next to the water. And I was like, do what you do. I cannot eat you. Now, the rest of his little brothers and sisters, they were delicious. They were absolutely phenomenal. But because they had already seen the light, I was okay with it. But I could not kill him. He was up there. He was fighting. I got a mosquito in here. Karma. He was fighting. I had to put him back outside. I was like, I can't do it. I can't kill you. Hopefully this is the kind of water you live in. I don't know. Now, here's the thing. When I took him out there, I'm pretty sure a gator got him when I got back in the house. I might have just served him up for sudden death in a much more gruesome way than my pot. But I was like, I can't be the one, buddy. You were fighting. I named him Harold and everything. I was like, nah, I can't do it. You the sweet one. You worked hard. Yes, he was. Hey, Veronica Quick. Veronica says, hello. He was calling the lobster baby. Sure was. He was sweet talking that lobster as he was completely demolishing it. You know what? I guess if you gotta go, wouldn't it be nice to hear some soft words from Chef Jose Andres? Okay, let's see. I'm missing comments because I'm talking too much. All right, let's see. Hi, Corlita Simon. It's good to see you. Corlita Simon says, I love the second series. I watched it 3 times. Yes. Okay, now I'm going to get my third watch. I got to get my badge. I'm going to get my third watch this weekend. I love it. Y'all know Jonathan loves it too. He likes season 1, but I'm going to be honest. I sometimes don't know if Jonathan's my husband. I don't know if he really likes the stuff he says he likes or if he's just being nice to me. Like he's kind of got the attitude like me. Like if I don't hate it, I can sit through anything. So like when he is just determined to watch a movie and I don't have an opinion one way or the other, I'll sit through it and I'll enjoy it because it makes him happy. So I won't be like raining on his parade. So I wasn't sure if he was into it. Oh no. I came out of the shower and I was getting dressed and I was walking in there to put my clothes in the hamper and I walked to the living room and I'm like, I thought I heard Meghan. I did hear Meghan. He was watching season 1, just chilling, eating his little sunflower seeds, watching season 1. I was like, okay, well, don't move up to season 2 until I'm in here because I want to go ahead and rewatch it with you. But like he loves the show. And so I'm going to go for a third watch. You know how good your show has to be for like a grown man who's not a homemaker or domestic in any way. Now he can cook some dishes he can really throw down, but like he's just not like a host or anything like that. but he just enjoys it. He said, I can't remember what the word is that he used, but he said it's good on the psyche. He said it's easy on his psyche and it relaxes his psyche. And I can get with that. I absolutely agree. It relaxes my psyche too. Oh. Hi, Veronica. Quick. Veronica says they feed the staff well. No hot dogs and hamburgers. I know that's right, because I don't know that I would be, that might be what my little party would be. And I would be so proud of my little chili dog parties. So Meghan told me to step my game up. That looked good. I actually watched episode 8 twice, and to see if I missed any of the food. And just, oh God, not only was the food looking good, but like the setup, the candles, and how it was all like layered and things like that. Oh, love that show. Hi, Legs. Legs says, I just smile when watching it. It makes me feel warm. It is so joyful. That's the perfect word, Legs. It is so joyful and it just feels good. And I'm going to be honest. I don't know that there has been a better time in my adult life for me to be watching things that are joyful, because if I tell you what, if you turn it on the news or try to scroll, you about to be stressed. So I am welcoming joy. Come one, come all. Joy, joy, joy. I love me some good joy, because I can't sit around and just ingest that all the time. That'll take me out. The other day I was about to scroll and I said, I'm gonna put it on Jurassic Park. Like, I needed something to distract me. And I did. I was like, I would rather watch a movie from the early 90s than to be listening to all this rhetoric and nonsense. It was just getting on my nerves. And child, anyway, it's joyful and it actually puts me in the mood to cook. Something that I love about cooking shows in general is when I do not feel like cooking, but I took something out, so now I have to cook it so it don't go bad. I'll put it on a cooking show and it will literally put me in the mood to cook. And With Love, Meghan has been my go-to lately. That and the movie The Menu. When I don't feel like cooking, I'll just put one of those on and there you go. Hi, Prudence Montague. Prudence says your husband is awesome. Oh, I'm gonna tell him you said that. Thank you so much. Yeah, he all right. He all right. You know, you gotta act cool. You can't be letting him know you love him too much. He's straight. No, he's a really good guy. He's so sweet. Okay, so I'm not gonna hold y'all. We have to move on to the next segment. So we're gonna do the next segment, which is people's perspectives on With Love, because I was scrolling and I just kept coming across videos of people, my tribe, my people, of sharing their opinions of not just With Love, but Meghan herself. And it just warmed my heart to see so many people using their platforms that way. And being honest, I don't really know what people get out of trying to pretend the show is not good. It's just good. I mean, I would not call it was good. I would not call it good if it wasn't. I just wouldn't talk about it. Like, I'm not the type of person that lies. So if I don't like something, I'm just not going to push it. I'll just be like, oh yeah, I saw it, and keep it going. Like, I'm not going to try to sell you on anything. You like what you like or you don't. It's just a good show. But again, we know that that's what they're going to do. Meghan could give everybody a gold nugget with every view and they would still find something wrong with it. They'd be like, my gold nugget too sharp. Like, they would find a problem with whatever she does. And it just makes me happy that she separates herself from that nonsense and she doesn't let it stop her. Honestly, we win because we get good content. If she were to stop because the criticism got to her, everybody would lose. And then they would have a problem with me. So they might want to leave her alone, because if they jeopardize my content, then you got me to worry about, because I'm not as classy as Miss Meghan. We might have a real problem. But no, I really appreciate that she puts that kind of love and joy and energy into her show. And I think one of the biggest takeaways that I have from season 1, now following into season 2, is no matter what you are going through, your reality is based on your perception. And you can choose to see your reality however you want to. Like, your life is really in your hands. You might not be able to control every circumstance. There's going to be things that surprise you. There's going to be things that come out of nowhere. There's going to be bad days. But overall, what you focus on becomes your life. I think I learned that lesson last year. The best is when my grandfather passed away. And that was rough. That was really rough. I had days where I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to like get myself out of bed, like in a normal way without like taking a break to cry. Like, it was rough. And cause I was really close to my granddaddy and he was 93 when he passed. So I've had him my whole life. And honestly, he's looked the exact same my whole life until he passed. So like, him aging was never just like front of mind for me, especially since he worked like 5 jobs his whole life. So he was always an active man. I just never really thought much about his age. And so when he passed, it was kind of like a shock. And it's crazy to say like a 93-year-old man passed, and it shocked me. But it did. Like, I genuinely thought he was going to find a way to outlive me, just because he was spiteful enough to be like, I did it, I won. And so he was competitive. And so anyway, when he passed, it was really rough. And it was really tough for me to find ways to see my world again without it being like coated in a layer of grief. It was just like everything made me grieve. Everything made me sad. And I was like, okay, I got to see my world differently. I have to be able to focus on things outside of grief. Like, I can't just keep stealing my joy. But what it taught me was to genuinely take control of my mind. Like those runaway thoughts. Don't just let any old thing in my head. Don't just let any old thing fester. Don't just let any old thought become a conscious thought. There's this book called You Are Not Your Thoughts. And it's basically like, you can't control when a thought just crosses your mind, but you can absolutely control whether or not you dwell there. When I tell you I read that book at the right time, because I feel like that genuinely helped me not lose my mind. And when With Love came out later on the following year, or earlier this year, I was kind of at the tail end of that, of like reclaiming my joy, or just trying to find joy, because it was really rough. And when I tell you that was like the extra boost I needed, and I appreciate things like that, because we all know what Meghan has been through. Even like on holidays, when we're talking about like the holiday season, sometimes it'll cross my mind like, yeah, I'm glad she cut off her dad. She needed to, because that was a dangerous man. He was doing some things that really jeopardized her. But it still probably doesn't change the hurt when moments come around where you're supposed to be around your family and you're supposed to be communing, and you can't, because they wouldn't see it. They couldn't see to it because they were harmful. I know that's just such a disappointment. And I think about things like that. And in spite of all of that, she chooses to see the good in the world and share that. That's motivating. Because if you let me have it, I'll sit there in my little slump and be irritated and mad at the world. I had to really figure that out. I was like, girl, you cannot just be sad all the time. Like, you wouldn't even have it. Like my granddaddy would be so irritated with me. Like, you still sad? My goodness, I died 2 weeks ago. Like, he was just not a dwelling type of man. And so I'm sure if he had seen me down, he would have been like, girl, you are really carrying on right now. So it did help me to like get that extra boost and that extra oomph. And then season 2 came right through, did the same thing, just kind of that extra boost of joy. I really, really hope it doesn't end at 2 seasons. The last episode kind of made me feel like it was almost a farewell. Like they knew they were just going to do 2 seasons, but I'm hoping she surprises me, because I would really like another season. Y'all know I really want her to have the Spice Girls on. That's something I'm really hoping for, my personal agendas. And so I'm hoping for that as well. Also, one of the things that I loved about season 1 and 2, but especially season 2, is that Guy was in almost every episode, and he was heavily, heavily featured. And when she made him that pressed flower necklace or collar, I was done for. I literally cried. I was like, not like boo-hoo, but I had like tears coming out. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad she got that moment with him. And my dog just turned 15 yesterday, my Romeo. But having a senior dog is not a walk in the park, because it's almost like every time you notice they're slowing down in some way, or they can't jump up on the big curb like they could just a couple weeks ago, it's almost like in the back of your mind, like that timeline starts, or that ticking, that countdown. And it's just like, you are borrowing tomorrow's grief, girl. Enjoy his little bad butt while he's here. Like, you don't have to be in a panic state. So seeing her spend that time with him, knowing that he is no longer here, I'm so glad they were able to not only have him on the show, but she's able to relive those moments. I know that's valuable. And then at the premiere on August 26th, when the show premiered, Prince Harry surprised her with that big portrait of her and Guy. Oh, dog parents, you get it. It's like you get a pet, and you get a pet knowing they're going to be an integral part of your family, but it's like, it's not front of mind that their lifespans are so much shorter than ours. And it's like, I'm almost signing up for indefinite grief. But their time on this earth is so valuable. It's worth whatever comes after that, because spending time with them is so worth it. My goodness. And he's literally right here, right now. I'm talking and saying all this sweet stuff. He's sighing deeply and loudly because I'm talking and interrupting his nap. See how he treats me. He is not getting a pressed flower with that attitude. Okay, so we got to move on to the next segment, and then we'll continue the discussion on the other side. Thank you so much for watching the SharionSade YouTube channel. I appreciate you watching my content. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video by hitting the thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. And don't forget to comment along the way. If you feel so inclined, please don't forget to share so that more people can find us. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Now let's get back to the video. Ever since season 1 of With Love, Meghan, people have felt compelled to share every single thought, opinion, and more commonly, criticism they could drudge up to think of to share. And while they are more than entitled to have their opinions and even share them, you do you, boo, I and the rest of the free-thinking world who can think critically have chosen to opt out of listening. We don't care. You don't have to like Meghan. People hate Beyonce. People hated Jesus. People will hate anything that can breathe. People will hate anything that can't breathe. People are natural-born haters, and it doesn't have to be our problem. But when I did a little digging, I found a few people who not only use their platforms to advocate for Meghan, but they did so in a way that I knew you guys would enjoy watching. So to end today's live stream, I thought, why not end the recap of With Love, Meghan Season 2 with a few people who have a whole lot to say about it. And I think this is the right audience for them to say it to.
I am only one episode deep into With Love, Meghan that recently released on Netflix. And I know that this is not normally the type of show that I cover, but this show is so delightful. I personally think that we need more delight in this world because the world kind of sucks right now. This country kind of sucks right now. And then you have Meghan Markle, who is just so sweet and so genuine. She seems so genuine. It's low stakes, low stress. She's preparing for guests to come over. So she goes out to where her honeybees are and she collects honey, and then she uses the honey and she collects the beeswax, and her and her friend make beeswax candles together. Prior to that, she had made a cake for them to frost and make together, like a honey lemon something beautiful, very cottagecore type cake. And then she makes this spaghetti. And since watching that episode, it's very funny because then I started seeing the spaghetti like all over my feed. But it's like a one pot spaghetti, and I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make that recipe. I was watching this while I was making breakfast, so it was just kind of on in the background. And it's really funny because I was cooking a steak. It's only my second time cooking a steak, and I ran out of butter. And while I was watching it, I was like, I could freak out because who ate the last of the butter, first of all? But I was like, no. What would Meghan do? I pivoted. I used olive oil. It turned out fantastic. But it also reminded me, I don't know, like, maybe I want to get into my homemade bag. Maybe I want to explore making things from scratch. A couple years ago, I bought all the supplies to make butter from scratch. The little hand crank thing, the little paddles that you use to put it together. It's been sitting in my cabinet ever since. This is the year. This is March what? March 10th? It's March 10th. This is the month that I'm going to learn how to make butter from scratch. It's just such a feel-good show that I highly recommend. I was not overstimulated. It was very pleasing. And I guess for me, it tapped into that part of me that likes hosting or likes showing love to my friends. Is that considered like acts of service? Making things by hand, being so intentional about what I do for my friends, not to get anything in return, not because it's transactional, but just because it makes my friends feel good, so it makes me feel good. I feel like the world needs more of that, and that's what this show encompasses. Like I said, I'm only on episode 2, but I'm so happy that it was renewed for a second season. This is my comfort show. I'm gonna leave Avatar: The Last Airbender alone for a moment. This is the world I'm gonna be in for a while.
Finally started watching With Love, Meghan, and I'm confused why there is so much hate. This show is so bougie and fun and cute. I'm trying to figure out, are people just jealous? Because I'm like, I would have Meghan's life. I'm living in this beautiful Montecito home, ranch, villa, whatever. And I'm just cooking and entertaining and gardening and having my rich friends over to eat and have fun. Literally dream scenario. Love that for her. And I'm honestly like learning things like sun tea and how easy focaccia is to make and cute little things when you have people staying over. Like, it's just giving like etiquette around hosting. It's literally like all about how to host very bougily. And I'm here for it. I literally am watching it right now. Ironic, I started it when I'm in the UK. But here for it, Meghan. Do your thing. Like, honestly, I know like season 2 is now out. I'm about to finish binging season 1 and get on season 2. Giving me inspiration for entertaining and hosting. Thank you, with love, Meghan. Bye.
What if I just enjoy Meghan, Duchess of Sussex's content, her show, podcasts, like if she gives us any cookbooks, any lifestyle books? I don't need any other justification for enjoying what she gives us other than it makes my brain feel good. For half an hour or an hour if I'm binge watching, and I have been binge watching. I watched the first 3 episodes of With Love Meghan and I absolutely love it. But the long and short of it is it makes my brain feel good. It makes my brain calm down. It is the perfect thing after working on the podcast, making content, doing mom stuff, doing retired hot girl stuff, being a partner, being a citizen of my community. After all of that, as a soft life black girl advocate, just makes my brain feel better. It helps me calm down. It is my sweet, soft, special something. I can look at beautiful things in a calm environment, get inspired to do things. I was inspired to make my hibiscus ginger tea from like watching her. Does she necessarily do that? No, but it inspired me. She was making those little necklaces with flowers. It made me think, girl, have you ordered your hibiscus flowers? So I ordered my hibiscus flowers. They get here. And today I'm gonna make I call it Marin County Kool-Aid. It's delicious. This is hibiscus tea with like cinnamon and ginger and hibiscus. She inspired me to do that, to do something healthy, calming, grounding, that's good for me. And even in the process, just helps me slow down. I don't need no other justification than that for watching her and enjoying her. All right? Thank you, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, the show. And it feels good on my brain, especially when it's tired. And that's all the justification I need to watch her. The only justification you need to watch her. Enjoy it. It makes your brain feel calm and good.
One more thought before I make my way to bed. This one actually makes me laugh. The way some critics and the haters are acting like Meghan's show With Love Meghan is a failure because it didn't hit Netflix's top 10. Newsflash, lifestyle shows are almost never top 10 material. This isn't a dating show like Love is Blind or a scandal-filled reality circus. It's not designed to be binge bait. With Love Meghan is in a category on its own. It's cozy, slow living, it's aspirational. It's not supposed to be noisy or scandalous. Think about it. When was the last time you saw Chef's Table, Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, or even Marie Kondo's Tidying Up hit the top 10? You didn't. And yet those shows became cultural landmarks, shifted conversation, sold books, and launched movements. That's what you call impact. What Meghan has done is create a unicorn in the streaming space. A lifestyle show with global attention. Her marmalade, her rosé, her flower sprinkles. Those products instantly sold out. People are talking about what she's cooking, how she's hosting, how she's living. Good or bad, people are talking about her. That's lifestyle at the highest level. You don't measure that by whether it's sitting next to Stranger Things on the top 10. You measure that by cultural resonance, how it lives outside the screen. So critics and haters can mock, but what they're really admitting is that Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, created a lifestyle brand so powerful, it doesn't need to be propped up by Netflix algorithms. She turned a niche product into a headline. That's rare. That's special. That's a unicorn. And that's the tea.
So the Meghan Sussex haters are mad again because her new show just got released for a second season. And what I don't think that haters realize is that a hater is nothing but a misguided admirer. The reason why people typically hate on someone else is because that person has or is something they'll never have or never be. Some of them are mad at Meghan because a prince chose her and a prince didn't choose them. Why even tune into the show in the first place? You wanted to hate watch that show because you were always looking for a reason to justify unjustifiable hate. Black women don't always have to sing or dance or act or entertain you in some way. We could just be. You watched The Simple Life with Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie, and you weren't wondering about, like, what do they do for a living? You just watched the show and were entertained. You watch the Kardashians and every single spinoff that they create, but they don't have to have any specific talent. They don't sing, they don't dance, they don't act. They can just be entertaining. You had no problem watching Martha Stewart when she's in her garden, and she's baking cakes and cookies and pies and all of that. No problem at all. But when a black woman does it, you don't like it. You don't want to see her live a life of opulence or luxury or even a life of ease. Because you don't think that's really for black people. Well, then who's it for?
Meghan, I don't really know very well, and I hope she knows what she's talking about.
Why the hell would Meghan Markle not know what she's talking about? She graduated from Northwestern with a double major. It's domestic labor, not rocket science. And that's not me making that assumption. White people apparently don't hold domestic labor in very high esteem because for most of the country's history, they had the main people doing it. It was illegal for them to learn how to read. Your issue is it doesn't look like this. See, we got to be the domestic experts. We were the ones who knew everything about running the home when we were doing it for free and literally serving at your feet. You don't think Meghan is unable to do it. Once again, it's housework. You are mad she's doing it in pretty dresses, that she owns her brand, that somebody else isn't getting all the credit and the money. See, you love putting a black woman's face on it when you could benefit from it. Nobody cooks like Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben as long as they're the face and you get all the profit. And as long as it reinforces those nasty stereotypes, because once again, it's not about educational level, it's not about who's fit to do what, it's about your false idea of superiority. Let's not forget what that brand was really called when it first started out. I hope you all are awake, particularly you women, because the areas black women have been being challenged in lately are the areas that women are supposed to be relegated to. Beauty and domesticity. But Olandria and Shelley's beauty has been challenged, as well as now the domesticity of Meghan Markle and such. Because even you trying to fulfill historically feminine roles as a black woman is triggering, because the entire country is based on the stereotype that you are masculine. You're a harpy, you're animalistic, and above all, you exist to serve them. So if you're on the same level or above, if you are an actual scholar, millionaire, princess, whatever, it is a threat to the power structure. So you will attain a lot more hate for being great, for not being a stereotype, than you will be for being badly off. When's the last time you saw them taking the piss out of a Diamond and Silk, a Leslie Jones, a Tiffany Haddish? You don't see hate trains against those kinds of women. Even if people hate their politics, like with Diamond and Silk, people aren't spending all day, all night lambasting them online. Because in people's minds all over the world, they're fulfilling what is thought of as their destiny. This is as much as anybody expected out of them. But the women who get the hate are the Michelle Obamas, the Ketanji Brown Jacksons, the Kamala Harrises, the Simone Bileses, the Serena and Venus Williams. And there's a subtle distinction, but there's a major difference. It's not that people hate that you're extraordinary, because they benefited from you being extraordinary for a long time. It was Anne Lowe, a black woman, who designed Jackie Kennedy's wedding dress. It was a black woman, Sarah Boone, who invented the ironing board. It was actually a black woman, not Betsy Ross, who sewed the first flag. It's fine for you to be extraordinary as long as somebody else is getting the credit, as long as you get nothing for your work. They love your work. Your work is the best thing ever. And they'll even use your image because they know they're saying, this is the real McCoy, also named for Elijah McCoy, a black inventor. They're saying without saying this is the real thing by putting your face on it so they can pay themselves the profit. They get angry when you're extraordinary and they don't get a piece of the pie. When you think you can step up to the level of business owner, entrepreneur, front face of the company, your own company, not the face of theirs, all of a sudden it's, I hope she knows what she's doing. One more again, the people must not have thought it was that complicated because they forced enslaved children to do the housework. Can't be that hard. They didn't hold it in very high regard because they wouldn't allow them to read, write, own any property, have any money. So you can't think it's that complex a job if you won't let anybody have any aides to do it with. They couldn't use cookbooks. And yet these were the people cooking the state dinners for Washington and Jefferson, Adams, etc. So, I think we have 4 centuries of expertness underneath our belts. People are really showing out this year, and you know why. Keep an eye on them. That's it, doctor's orders. Like and follow for more.
Dr. Cecilia Regina will get you together. It is my mission in life to live my life in such a way that she never finds me in her crosshairs, because that woman, she's a doctor and she reads. But more than that, she's just a very logical person. And I really appreciated her comments. When I heard what Martha said, I actually didn't hear it. I read it. And the way that the article sounded, it was just like, oh, as long as she knows what she's doing, she's good. But when I actually saw the video, I was like, I think a couple of months ago, I talked about how celebrities and public figures have this thing that they do where they may make a comment about Meghan, or there may be heavy innuendo in their comment that sounds like they're disapproving in some way, and it's like subtle shade. It's subtle enough to where they can walk it back and act like it was an accident, but it's intentional enough that it cannot be miscued as, or misconstrued as positivity. And I've noticed the trend over the last few years of people who want to maintain neutrality in some way, or they're worried about the squad coming after them. And so they'll say something that kind of toes the line, that's like, it could be taken that way, but it's not outright rude. And it kind of leaves you with like a, how did you mean that? Something that I have learned in my 38 years of living is they know what they're doing. Maybe not everybody is intentionally trying to cause harm, but if someone wants to say something positive, they know how to. If someone wants to be complimentary, they know exactly how to be complimentary. If someone does not want to sound rude, they simply won't. Not in your everyday, some people struggle, but celebrities are literally trained to give PR answers. So when they say things that toe the line, it is almost certainly shade. So when they get called out and then they walk it back, it irritates me, because you could have just left her alone. I actually was one of the people who felt like the comment that Pamela Anderson's executive producer made of her show, I felt like her timing of clearing that up didn't really sit right with me. It felt like the comment was made around the time season 1 premiered, and then clearing it up comment was made on Watch What Happens Live a couple of weeks before season 2 premiered. So it kind of felt like she was, maybe not her purpose, but it just kind of felt like there seemed to be an intentional timing to the way that she and her executive producer and just her team were choosing to rope in Meghan and her show with Pamela's show. And so, of course, Pamela cleared up that she didn't have a problem with Meghan, and that she was actually quite complimentary of her and encouraging of her on Watch What Happens Live. But it wasn't necessarily her clearing it up that bothered me. I was glad that she did, but I'm like, you knew those comments were made all the way back in March. Why wouldn't you just put out a statement? Just put out a statement, because it's literally your executive producer. It wasn't like some friend of a friend of a friend. This man works on your show, and he's your friend and your actual partner on this show. And he was making blatant rude references to Meghan's show. So it wasn't subtle. It was very direct. And if my partner was making rude comments about anybody, and I knew I did not want bad blood with that person, I would say, you need to walk it back, or I will. And then we need to talk about the next season of this show and whether or not you're going to be partnering with me on it. I would not be okay with that. So with that said, celebrities know better. So when they say things, if they wanted to be complimentary, they absolutely would be. I feel like they test the waters to say, okay, I'm going to say it in a way that where I know that the implied negativity will catch headlines, but it's subtle enough to where I can walk it back and I won't have any damage to my image. And it just feels manipulative. And so I was a little disappointed with Martha Stewart because at first I read that and I didn't think it sounded negative. But when I heard how she said it, I was like, oh, Martha is known for being shady. And I've always felt like her and who was it? Gwyneth Paltrow. I felt like their little shade back and forth. It made a little bit more sense because they're both shady. Like Gwyneth Paltrow is shady as hell. Like she said the N-word. So like, I'm not a fan of hers. I was happy that she and Meghan squashed the beef or the fake beef and like cleared up. But I feel like she played in Meghan's blind spots with that. I've been feeling like that. I felt like because Meghan's not tapped in, she doesn't pay attention to this stuff. What she heard was that they supposedly had some kind of problem. And when she was invited to squash that problem and show that there was no bad blood, she was happy to do it because she doesn't want to contribute to the nonsense. I don't know that she did a deep dive. And I don't blame her for not doing a deep dive, especially if someone is saying, hey, there's this lie and this rumor. I want you to come and I want to clear this up because I have no problem with you. I would probably just take that at face value. But I personally feel like if she read those comments, I don't know that she would have felt like clearing that up alongside her. I don't know. She might have still felt that way. But reading those comments, I have never felt like Gwyneth Paltrow was positive in those comments. But she's very shady. And she has a tendency to say little things and then walk them back. Like when she said the N-word on Instagram and then had everybody come out and defend her. And I'm like, there's no defense for that. So when she and Martha were going back and forth, it made sense because they are literally cut from the same cloth. Like they're literally the same person. And Martha kind of has a habit of being a little bit of a gatekeeper. I remember when Blake, what's her name? I was about to say, call her Blake Raven. What is that woman's name? And it is like escaping me. Goodness. What is that lady's name? What is her name? Blake is going to bother me because I know that lady's name and it is driving me crazy. The Gossip Girl. Anyway, when she was talking about her website, the Antebellum website or something, and it was supposed to be lifestyle, and Martha kind of ate her up in that interview. Again, it kind of made sense because, again, cut from the same cloth. But Meghan had the TIG. Like, this is Meghan's whole thing. And not only that, but a lot of people forget that Meghan was a guest on Lively. Thank you so much, Colette McCullough. Thank you so much. Because do you know, I would have woke up at 4 a.m. and been like, it was Lively. I would have. Thank you. Because I'm like, I know that lady name. She's been in every headline all year long. Her and her little husband, they've been going through it. But no, I felt very strongly that, you know, they went back and forth and it made sense because they're all kind of shady. Meghan has never been like that though. Like Meghan has never been one to throw shade in interviews. And she has a long history of being in the lifestyle space and being in like the cooking space. She guest starred on several cooking shows for years. I actually have all of them on my Patreon where she did shows like finding the best hidden treasures in New York. And then she did a couple of other cooking shows where she learned to cook with other chefs, like learned to cook certain dishes with other chefs and did food tastings. And she brought on guests from Suits. And then she was also on, I can't think of her name, but it's Haley Duff's show. She did an episode of Haley Duff's show where they were pickling peppers and they had this little lunch at the end. And she's done a lot of cooking things. This is right up her alley. I feel strongly that if she had never married Prince Harry, God forbid, they're a beautiful couple, but had she just kept on the same trajectory she was on when she was on Suits, I feel like she would be exactly where she is right now. And she probably would have just done that much sooner. This has always been her thing. So Martha's comments didn't make sense to me. And I will also say, I don't think it's in good faith when people ask Martha or anyone else about Meghan. Because do you just have a roster of celebrities to ask these people about? Because why is it always Meghan? If it's random draw, why is it always Meghan? Like Serena Williams. If it's at random, why am I always getting tested? Like if it's random draw, why are you always asking about Meghan? It's because they're hoping for someone to say something negative. They're hoping for someone to toe the line and they want to essentially throw a rock and hide their hands. Because why are you asking Martha Stewart about Meghan? They don't work together. And Martha is not the end all be all. And it's almost like people forget that B. Smith existed. It's things like that that irritate me. And when I first read her comments, I was like, I'm gonna take them at face value, but it doesn't sound negative. And then when I heard her tone, I said, oh, that was definitely negative. And I'm so glad Dr. Cecilia, is it Rodriguez? Did I get it wrong again? Dr. Cecilia Regina read her for filth and didn't even read her with anything except the truth. I appreciated her. Hi, Colette McCullough. Colette McCullough says they can't stand the authenticity and the education of a Black woman. It's threatening. I really feel like they feel like it's threatening. And it doesn't just happen on one side or the other, which is why I get so irritated with people who they want to put Meghan in a box and be able to label her when I'm like, y'all could just see the lady for what she is. Because if she's doing lifestyle stuff, oh no, she was an actress. She just putting on now. She was an actress before. So why is she suddenly into cooking? When you could just do your Googles. You could just do your Googles. Or the fact that that woman was literally, she worked at the ambassador, Lord, the embassy in Argentina. Like, Meghan has lived several lives. Like, she is a very accomplished woman in a lot of different sectors. Just Google before you speak on her. Like, it doesn't make sense. So for Martha Stewart to make those comments, I feel like she's just a gatekeeping person. And I feel like she gets threatened when anybody younger comes into her space. And a lot of people suffer from that. I mean, no offense to her, but look at Nicki Minaj. The panic and the meltdowns that have happened ever since Cardi B came on the scene. And I think it's because she feels like karma is coming around because of how she treated Lil' Kim when she came on the scene. Like, sometimes people really want to gatekeep, and you can't stop what's destined for somebody. What's yours is yours. You just have to go get it. You just have to claim it. And you can't let people stop you, because if you give your future to someone else, they will absolutely derail you. You have to fight for what you want and what you are, and walk in your truth. And I think that's what, just like Colette McCullough says, that authenticity. You can't, it's kind of like when people want to find out tea on you, like they want to start a rumor about you, or they want to say something negative about you. And so they talk to people, but it's not in good faith. They're just hoping somebody drops something negative about you so they can talk about you. Kind of like those friends that always come back around and be like, such and such said this. And you're like, why would they say that to you? I thought, I wouldn't talk about somebody to their friends. Why would they say something like that to you of all people? It's because they're fishing for it. They want to have an impetus to talk about you. And they can't find anything. So they just make something up. We could just say the British press, I rest my case. Like, they can't find any dirt on you. We'll just make it up. And we'll continue to perpetuate the same lies and then reference each other so that we can put some validity behind it. But what disappoints me is, like, she's literally minding her business, literally cooking in her garden with her kids, with her friends, with her beautiful husband. Y'all could have just left her alone, and you could stop asking about her in interviews in bad faith, because there's nothing about, what do you think about Meghan's show With Love? Why didn't they ask Martha Stewart about Pamela Anderson's show? And they're closer in age, so they would probably be more peers than Meghan and Martha. Why don't they ask her about Pamela Anderson's show? Why don't they ask her about Rachel Ray? Why don't they ask her about any of the shows, any of the mini shows, lifestyle shows on Netflix right now? Or on TLC, or on Hulu, or on E? It's because we want to toe the line and have them say something about Meghan and then hide our hands like, oh, we didn't know they were going to take it that far. It's frustrating, but I love that Dr. Cecilia Regina called it out, because since when has domesticity just been rocket science? Mind you, just like Dr. Cecilia Regina pointed out, Meghan has a degree, or graduated with a double major, and she worked for the U.S. Embassy in Argentina, and she was an actress. She's bilingual. Like, she's a very intelligent woman. This woman has sat face to face with some of the most powerful people in the world. She is one of the most powerful people in the world, and she was doing that long before she met Harry. So clearly, this woman was destined for everything that she is doing right now. She is literally plucking the fruit of the trees and the plants that she planted years ago on her own. And it's wonderful that she married a man that was equally yoked, who has his own important business to take care of, because they're right there with each other. They both shine. And I think that's what bothers people. They really don't have an angle to come at her with. Like, I hate to say this, but a lot of successful women, when they get successful, their husbands start acting out. They try to humble them. Remember Sandra Bullock? That happened with her. It's just a thing that happens. But they can't say that about Harry, because Harry has his own shine and he's a good guy. So they can't say, oh, at least she's sad at home. Nope, she's happy at home too. And she's got a great job, and she's good, and she does things for the world, and she's got a clear conscience, and she's a great mom. She has healthy, happy kids. And like, they can't find an angle to come at her with. So they just do little things like what Martha did. How sad and pathetic. But you know what? If you are sitting there spewing bitterness, that means you are a bucket of resentment and hostility. And I wouldn't want to house that, because that's certainly eating you from the inside. I've never looked at anybody and thought to rain on their parade. If anything, if somebody is shining, I want to be the first one to reflect it back to them. Like, girl, you are on today. I know that's like, I'm the first one. I remember one time I complimented this girl. I was at some boat docks, and she just looked so cute. She had this cute skirt on, and she had a little crown. So I think it was like her bachelorette or her birthday or something. And she walked by, and I was like, you look so pretty. And she was like, I know. Well, damn. Like, know what to say. I was just like, well, good. Okay. And like, one, I'm from Texas, so Southern hospitality, I would have just said, oh, thank you so much. That's nice of you to say, because you didn't have to tell me that. You didn't have to compliment me. But I'm glad she knew. But later I was like, how, like if somebody said that to me and that was my response, I must be in a pretty bad state of mind. I must be looking for a problem. I must be, housing something negative. So instead of getting irritated with her, I did say a little prayer for her. I was like, whatever was on that lady's spirit, I'm praying that comes up off of her, because that's not a normal response. And that sounded negative. Oh, I'm sorry, Colette McCullough. I got you just up here like I'm talking at you. but no, I actually at first I was like, well, forget you then. But then later I thought about it and I was like, dang, she must have really been going through something. So I said a little prayer, especially since she was so dressed up. So to be going through something on your special day, made me sad. But anyway, so that's all I have for y'all today. It was really nice to come back to a live stream. It's been a while since we've done one. I haven't done a live stream since before my surgery. So it's so nice to be back. We will continue to do live streams now. We're going to get them back up and running so that we can talk live and chat and commune. And of course, if Harry and Meghan keep pumping out engagements and content and podcasts and all kinds of stuff, they just keeping me busy. So we'll be talking a lot more. And next week we have a live stream coming up because we're going to do the other half of the recap. I have more top 5 and top 3 categories from With Love Meghan season 2. And then we also have to talk about all of Harry's engagements from this week that I have yet to talk about. And then, of course, I'm going to talk about it. I've gotten a couple of emails asking me to talk about William and Kate on a couple of things, like my opinion on a couple of things that they've done. Somebody asked me to talk about Kate's wig. I actually haven't had time to really investigate that yet. But when somebody said, can you talk about Kate's wig? I was like, what wig? So I'm going to do my research and then I'm going to come back to you, because if the wig has to be a talking point, I'm really concerned about what I'm about to see. So now, one thing I will say, if she does indeed have cancer, then her wearing a wig makes sense. So maybe that was the angle that it was coming from. Like, oh, she is wearing a wig, so maybe something's wrong. But I'll do my Googles and let y'all know, because I have like 5 topics that people have asked me to touch on with those people. So anyway, I will see y'all next week. I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend. Thank y'all so much for all of the birthday love and blessings and all the showering of myself and my dog. I appreciate it. Hope y'all have a wonderful weekend, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.